Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Spanner Man again here with another video. Hope you enjoyed the video today. Please subscribe to the channel. Any comments, thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Spanner Man again here with another video. Today we're just going to change the chainsaw grinding disc. It's 145 millimeter by 22.2 millimeter arbor, and the thickness is 3.2 millimeters wide. Now, a lot of times when you put a new wheel on, you can get a bit of wheel wobble from side to side. So you can also get up and down a little bit, and you can also get from side to side. There are a few things you can do about it. Normally what I do, that if I get a bit of wheel wobble, I'll loosen the nut here, and I'll try and spin the wheel round a quarter of a turn in a different spot. I'll do that about a half a dozen times, and if that fails, then I'll put a paper washer on there, and hopefully that'll remedy it. I don't mind if I've got a tiny... Now, I've just tightened that up by hand, but what I want to do is just spin that by hand. Oh, there's a little bit of movement. I'm going to loosen it and spin the wheel in a different position. Just going to try another spot. Another spot. Sometimes you need to try this about a half a dozen times. That's not too bad, but I'll try another spot. One more time. Doesn't look too bad. We'll just nip that up and see what it looks like. So then I'll sort of explain to you exactly what I was doing. Let's just look at that. That's pretty good. Okay, so what I was doing there was loosening the nut by hand and moving the wheel around about that much. Spin the wheel, doesn't look, still got a little bit of side play, move it around again, move it around again. Just put it in a different position, and I'm reasonably happy with that. We'll just sort of, I've got a little bit of play up and down, a little bit. There's not much you can do about that, but I'll see whether you can see this. Hopefully you should be able to see it. If I bring... So if I spin the wheel, it's not moving from side to side much. It's pretty bloody good. And if you really want to test it out, what you can do is hold something there. So if we put this key here, let's try and get in a comfortable position. We'll see if we come around this way a little bit. That's not bad. There's a little tiny bit there, but that's really pretty good. I don't think you're not really going to get that much better on this type of wheel. I've never had an aluminium oxide wheel that's perfect. That's probably as good as what it's going to get. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, that you tried that a couple of times, and as you saw me loosen it by hand, then I put it in a different position and nipped it back up, spun it, still had a bit of wheel wobble, loosen it up, rotate it about a quarter of a turn, put it in a different position. Just trying about a half a dozen different positions, and then when you think you got the best one, nip it up. Don't push it too hard. If you push it too hard, you're liable to go back to where you started, and then you got to start all over again. Now, worst case scenario, what I've done is cut two little thin gaskets out of very, very thin cardboard. And if you get into trouble and you can't balance it, you can normally put this on the other side of the arbor, and you can put this one here on this side of the washer. So this, you can fit that on there. And with the wheel in between the two cardboards and it bolts up, you can usually get it pretty good. Sometimes you only need to use one piece of cardboard. This wheel didn't have any cardboard on the back. They really should have it. But as you just saw, just by playing around with that wheel, I got it pretty good. Now, the other thing is, there's a little bit of run out up and down, but normally that will, as you grind, as you start using the grinding wheel, that run out up and down will come pretty good. But remember, if you've got run out backwards and forwards too much, you can find out that half the wheel only ever grinds the tooth away. Yeah, if you've got more than 0.5 millimeter play run out, yeah, and that's not a good idea. And then that's going to probably overheat the tooth a bit, because only a little bit of the grinding wheel is touching the tooth, when you should be getting at least 90% of the wheel. So I would say that I haven't got a dial indicator, but if you're to put a dial indicator on there, you might find out I've got less than maybe 0.25 of a millimeter run out from side to side, and that's perfectly acceptable. So that's just a little tip about when you put a new wheel on. Just don't put it on and say, oh yeah, near enough's good enough. Check the run out, spin the wheel, not happy with it, loosen the bolt, rotate in a different position, nip it back up, spin the wheel, do that up to about 6 times. If that fails and you can't find a position, cut yourself a gasket. You could cut yourself one like that. Try one gasket on one side first. It's only a thin bit of very, very thin cardboard, very thin. It's probably only about 5 thou, something like that, 0.2 of a millimeter, something like that. So it's very thin. And use that gasket, and that gasket can get you out of trouble 9 times out of 10. Most of the time these aren't perfect, but by the time you put a little gasket on them, you can make them so that they're quite good. If you don't do it and you don't care about your run out and you're just grinding with it, you'll generally find out if the run out's bad, and as I said, and only 50% is touching the tooth, then it's so easy for that to overheat. You want to be using as much as the grinding wheel as possible. And it makes a big, huge difference that if you're using 95% of the wheel, you won't generate as much heat as if you were using 50% of the wheel. But believe me, and the way that you can tell also, when you do it by eye, once it's in use, you'll find out you can get like a little bit of black around here. If you don't keep your chains perfectly clean, sometimes the grease and muck can come off and get on your wheel. And if you find out that you've got a bit of black and it's only halfway on your wheel, this is on this side, then you'll find out, then you know that only half the wheel is grinding and the other half's not touching. Very, very important to do a line-up of what I've just showed you, that alignment. So yeah, just with a piece of cardboard or a very, very thin piece of paper. Look, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up. Bye for now.